Welcome to the Purpose Driven Mom Show, episode 486. I have an incredible interview for you with Marty McDonald. She is a Dallas-based entrepreneur and she is phenomenal. She owns multiple companies, is a mom of littles, and her new book, Audacious, is coming out. By the time this airs, actually, it will have been out for about a month. We're reading it in our book club for the Purpose Driven Mom Club next year, and it is incredible. Our conversation was one of those ones where I was like, God needed me to talk to her today. We haven't actually had a lot of interviews on the podcast, if you haven't noticed in the past year or so. I've had a lot of personal stuff go on, and scheduling wise, I've been unable to do it. And when I went over and was looking at, we get a lot of pitches, people asking, book tours, etc. And I'm choosy about who I have on the show. It's mostly me doing solo episodes. And I remember reading her topic and about her and researching her. And I felt God be like, you should talk to her. And I finished the episode, we got off, and I was like in actual tears because I needed to hear everything she had to say. She is on a mission to help women just achieve more and remove fear as a barrier to their goals and dreams. And that's what we talk about today. Moms, you need to tune in. You need to listen to this. Go grab her book. We're going to have it all linked up at the show notes at a purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 486. And like, go be bold, live your audacious life. I feel so inspired after just 40 minutes on with her that I'm ready to do and tackle some projects I've been putting off out of fear. So I want you to feel the same. I hope you enjoy this episode. All right, welcome to the Purpose Driven Mom Show, episode 486. I'm really excited for this conversation that we're about to have. I have Marty McDonald here, and we are talking about how to live audaciously, go after those big goals, those big dreams, that big ask, and be bold in yourself. And before we got on, I was just telling Marty, like, I struggle with this, or I'll say it that way. Let me back it up. I'm going to coach myself as I talk. I currently am struggling with this. I don't always do, but I'm currently actually struggling with this. So I'm also just super excited to pick your brain and hang out with you. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. If I get to talk to mamas, sign me up any day of the week. Not because I'm a mom expert, because I absolutely do not know what I am doing
Yeah.
in motherhood. But
Yes.
because like there are things that I want moms to be fired up on. And if I can ignite some mamas, we can change the world.
I believe it. All right. So tell us then just a little bit about you and your family.
Yeah, so I am a 2X serial entrepreneur. I own a media company called Boss Women Media, which is influential talent platform. We create stories, moments, branding opportunities for a collective of about 100,000 women in our community. And then I also own a children's brand called L Olivia, which is a lifestyle brand for little girls, specifically toddlers, to see themselves in everyday moments. We have a doll that's going to be hitting the shelves really soon. If I can ever get it here from being stuck in customs,
Yep.
just little problems that I deal with on a day to day. And then on top of that, I get to add author to my title starting October the 14th because I have my new book that's going to drop. Audacious is my first nonfiction self-help book that is a collection of me building business over the last 7 years, of me making extremely big asks to people, of me crafting how to tell my story. And I cannot wait for people to experience this book. And then I am a mama of three little kids that are an incredible reflection of who I am and of who they're going to be. I have a 4-year-old and I have twins that are 2. And me and my husband have been married for 15 years. It's an absolute hot fool at my house at
Yeah.
any.
I was gonna say you were also in that thick of it. I was just talking to a couple of my students about I've had my coaching program 6 years. I've been in business 8. And the mom I was 6 years ago is like my kids are now 8, 10, and 19. And I'm like, wait, that is not the mom I was before when I was in that stage. So my issues, my struggles have changed a little bit. And I think it's interesting as we go into these different phases of what we struggle with and how we kind of navigate it. And it sounds like you're figuring it out and like doing that thing. And listen, if you're a Purpose Driven Mom Club member, we will be reading Audacious next year in 2026. So make sure you join us because we're going to do it as our book club. I want to hear about the inspiration behind the book because you're doing a lot of things, you're juggling all of it. What made you be like, all right, I need to get this on paper, I need to get this out in the world?
You know, I think that it wasn't a a natural, like I have this on my checklist, a vision, a goal. It actually was me hearing and seeing it from my peers. Now, let me tell you why. And I think that's so incredibly important in any woman's journey of career and business. I was producing an event in 2022. I had just had my twins. I barely took a maternity leave. I was producing this 3,000 person conference live in person. Um, and one of the speakers that spoke at the VIP programming told me, Marty, I just got a seven-figure book deal. When she told me that, I thought, wait a minute. What? And it was like she told me, and I couldn't unknow it now because she told me it was possible. That's what she did. She gave me hope and possibility. Probably 2 months later, I'm with another friend who also owns a business. She said, Marty, I just got a six-figure book deal. Now I'm like at hello. Now I'm like, wait a minute. This is possible for you because you've heard the stories of other women around you. And sometimes we just need to hear the possibility of a thing. And their opportunity became my possibility. And then I began dreaming about what it would look like if I had a book in the marketplace. And what would it be about? And what would I talk about? And I've been afforded through a whole bunch of hard work, tenacity, resilience, and fearlessness, opportunities to work with some of the world's largest brands, such as Amazon, Intuit, Capital One, Cash App. I could go on and probably list 10 more brands out, all from me being a storyteller and making big ask and pitching. So I thought that's what my book is going to be about. I'm going to teach women how to pitch, how to position themselves, how to go after the thing that they wanted. As I began to tell more stories in the book about how I first started business, my experience sitting in corporate America for 11 years before I quit my job to start my side hustle as my full-time hustle. I began to learn that it's more than just pitching. This is a book about bravery and courage and taking up space and knowing that fear is not your stop sign, but instead, fear is a signal that you might have to just get on a different pathway. And then you got to get comfortable with your fears. And how do you do that? How do you get comfortable with fear? Because fear never really goes away. And then how do you craft your story? And oh, by the way, how do you activate your network? Because that's the most powerful tool that you have. And these are all of the lessons that I tell in this book. And I don't just tell the story from my experience, but I give tactics to people on how they can incorporate it. And so, but it all started with hearing someone else's opportunity. And this book is a book of a whole bunch of opportunities that I have had that I get to share with other folks for them to take up space and have as well.
I love it. I have chills because I think we forget that so much more is possible for us than what we're doing because we are like, it could never be me. And then all of a sudden we start hearing this and seeing this and we were sharing before I got on, like, I don't talk about my book all the time in real life. And then I do, and I'll have people be like, can I message you and ask you a question about writing a book? Because I've always thought about writing a book and I never knew anyone who actually did it. And you don't realize how much power you have, like when you go after your dream and then it opens up are you familiar with the poem Sphere by Marianne Williamson? And there's a line in it that says, like, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. It's my very favorite poem. And I can spew it out
Okay.
because I say it all the time. And I think this is what you're talking about, right? It's like that seeing other people do it is that why not me? But let's bring that down to the ground for a bit because I know there's a mom listening who's like, well, good for you. Like, why not me? Right, because I have this and this and this, and this is all the things in their voice. Like, why do we struggle so much with that doubt of when someone says, why not? We say, I could never.
Mm. Well, first of all, what I would want to challenge that mom is stop having such a limited mindset. I have a framework in the book called Audacious Math. Everybody's heard of girl math,
Okay.
right? And it became such a thing. I put a framework together called Audacious Math. And what is Audacious Math? Audacious Math, if you want to take up what audacity looks like and have a formula for it, I give you this framework on how you walk into it because I believe audacity belongs to all of us. It is the one thing that does not discriminate. It doesn't matter if you're black, blue, green, yellow, or pink, right? It does not discriminate. Actually, it's our inheritance. Audacity is our inheritance. And so, because I know that so much, I created this framework around first, in order to have audacity, you have to change your mindset. What is the thing that you're believing? What is the story that you're telling yourself? What is your belief system? And I think that once I took hold of the story I was telling myself, because I used to tell myself really bad stories. I used to tell myself, I'm not good enough. It will never happen. I'm not this. I'm not like, it's just, but then when I started telling myself the story to work for me versus against me, is when I was able to shift my mindset. The other piece of this is affirming yourself. After you tell yourself a story that's working for you, you got to affirm yourself in it every day. So that's kind of part two. So mindset plus affirmation. Because let me tell you, after you start believing a story, I believe the enemy starts creeping in and trying to take captive of your mind. So you got to affirm yourself and you have to equip yourself with a tool to affirm yourself. On my mirror right now, I have a scripture. And then I have prompts and how I'm affirming myself in this scripture. It's, I'm not hustling, I'm expecting, right?
Mm.
'Cause I know how to hustle. As a mama, you know how to hustle. We learn how to hustle and multitask and juggle as moms, right? But instead, in this season of life that I'm in, I am affirming myself from the perspective of expectation. I am walking into rooms that people are welcoming me into. I have opportunities in rooms I've never entered into, right? Like I am constantly in affirmation with myself, right? And then the second or last part of it is I take action, audacious action every single day. And whatever that action looks like for you. So I have my mindset plus my affirmations plus the action that I take equals audacity.
Mm.
And that's what I would say. That is your starting and your grounding framework to begin to believe that it's possible because that's where it lends itself in. If you can believe it first, no one else can unbelieve it for you if you stay focused on the belief of it.
Oh my God, I love it. As you're talking, I'm like, wait, I want to talk about this. And they have so many gems in there. And the one thing I want to pull out first, though, is you just said, hey, on my mirror currently, this is what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people think we're going to just arrive. Like, okay,
Mm.
I can hit that goal and then I can coast. And I'll be honest, I've had moments of that in my business, 8 years doing this, where I'm like, we get to a place and then we're coasting for a little bit. And I notice what's happening is I'm not active in that. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And I'd love for you to talk about how, even though people could look at you and be like, look at all the success, she's arrived, she's been there, you're doing the work still now.
I like to think of it this way. And I mean, I've experienced it too, right? When we in 2020, let's see, 2022, we landed our programming on Amazon Prime. It was streamed in over 500,000 households. They watched our conference. Man, I was like, Mama, I made it, right? Or when we had Yar Shahidi speak, or Tia Mowry speak, or I mean, the list of people, Stacey Abrams, who delivered an address to us and addressed our organization, right? Mama, I made it moments. But you know what happens after you have those moments? You want more. It's inevitable. You want more. You want to go higher. You want to achieve more. Well, with more comes more fear, my friend. That does not go away. You just have to learn how to navigate the fears of it. And so for me, that's why my season of, I used to have this thing, I don't know if you can see it back here. It says, good things come to those who hustle. Because that was the season I was in when I first began. I ain't there no more. I don't hustle for it anymore because I've proven to myself that I can hustle. When I first started Boss Women Media, me, my balloon guy, my social media person, hustling from city to city, right? That is not the season I'm in. Now I am expecting because I've created a groundwork and a foundation from hustle. So I'm building upon that foundation. Now I'm living in the house and I'm having to reinvent myself because, oh, by the way, the world is changing. The world ain't the same from 5 years ago. We're still stuck in COVID, and the world has moved on and changed so much. And so, from that perspective of how do I affirm myself in this season of where I'm at? You might be a mama with elementary school kids or middle school kids, right? And that looks really different. I keep saying to myself, I'm working hard right now, laying the foundation, because when my kids do get in elementary school, I do want to be that PTA mom. I want to be the room mom, right? Like I want to be available, right? So again, I'm laying a foundation for it now and still trying to create these childhood memories for them. But I'm like, will my 2-year-old even remember? you know?
Yep.
And then trying to understand what that looks like of how much I give there versus how much do I give to me at the same time. But there are seasons of it. Fear does not go away. No matter what season you are, stop believing that myth that it goes away. You must get comfortable with the fears so that you can learn how to navigate them for whatever season that you are in.
I'm so glad you said that because that was actually the second thing I was going to ask you when you were talking earlier was that when I think audacious, moms are going to be like, wait, but I have to hustle all the time. So I'm so glad you talked about that because I think a lot of people think like, and I say the same thing, like when I built the foundation of my business, like I hustled, right? Like we got there. And then I'm at a place now where I can maintain. And now as I'm moving into this like last of a decade of almost having my business, I'm ready to level up, right? But I had to have those seasons in the middle where we had a lot of personal life stuff go on where we were just maintaining. And that's where we were at. And it was what it was. And now I'm like coming out of this into like, and now I'm ready to level up again. We all have that. And I think that's important. It isn't always going to be hustle, 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 but you have to put some work in. You have to move forward in some place or you're never going to get there. And I think a lot of us are, the moms I talk to, I notice we wait for the time to be right. Well, when
Mm.
my kids are at this age, when this isn't happening, and again, life happens. We have to juggle a lot, but that mindset of I'll do it when all the stars align and everything is perfect is keeping so many moms absolutely stuck and like afraid to move forward. I don't know if you want to add anything onto that thought.
When I started my children's brand, I'm just going to give you, I won't take up because we could talk about this for the entire time. Let me just give you an understanding of where I was at. My first daughter, we had a NICU experience. I was in the NICU for 35 days. That NICU experience led me to leaving the NICU as I spent the night there for 34 of the 35 days in a chair. Um, when I left that NICU, in that moment, I asked God, how and what type of mom do I need to be for this little girl? Because that NICU experience, woo, hunty, it was tough. It was hard. I never experienced, that was probably one of the hardest things in my adult life that I have experienced because I had no control over it. When I left the NICU, I asked God, how do I show up as her mama? And there was two things that came up. Your daughter must see herself in this world because this world gonna try to make her feel like she don't belong and she not available and she not here, right? And the other thing is your daughter needs to know how to advocate for herself. That is a tool and a trait that she will need for the rest of her life. So teach her young. And so when I left that NICU, I thought, okay, well, that's what I'm gonna go do. And I'm gonna do that while I'm building this media company, right? And then one day I was walking in Target and I had this yearning probably about 30, 45 days before that there was more that existed for me. I just didn't know what it looked like. I was walking in Target And I was looking for something that had a character, representation, or something that my daughter could see herself through. And I noticed that it did not exist. I left Target that day and I said, oh, I'm going to create it. I heard a whisper, and that whisper said, you go create it. And that's what I did. 6 months later, we launched the product line. 6 months from then, I sent a cold pitch email to Target, and I told Target, you guys got some gaps on your floor, and this product line needs to be in your store. 4 months later, we were awarded 400 Target stores to go in. And then I find out I am pregnant with twins. This is in January of 2022. I'm having the twins August 2022. And now I'm like, what? I my PO was for 130,000 pieces of product. So I had to figure out how to get and deliver 130,000 pieces of product by August when I was also having the twins in August. Now I could have said, all right, Target, this ain't gonna work out for the timing of my life. I could have said this is not perfect timing. This is not aligning with what I thought in my head it was going to be. Because, oh, by the way, we were not expecting to have twins at all. But I just kept going. I kept going when I didn't know how I was going to pay for the PO. I kept going when I did not know anything about being in retailer on shelves after being in business for 6 months. I kept going when I had to hire people and trust the process. But the through line of it is that I just didn't quit.
Mm.
And that's what I want mamas to know. If you just stay committed to the thing, if you just don't quit, if you do the right thing, success is going to happen to you, but you're never going to know if you quit.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Oh my God. Yes, everything you're saying, I think, is just so important for moms to hear. And I always like to play like that devil's advocate on stuff because I always think like, what is my mom thinking right now when she's listening to this? And she's cheering you on. She's so happy for you. She's like, what a great story. And then her brain is saying, what do I have to offer? What do
Mm.
I have to give? Why would anyone listen to me? I know a lot of my moms who listen, maybe in their first year or two of business, and like they crickets, right? They're like, nobody's buying my thing. Nobody, I'm just putting it out there. Should I quit at this? Who am I to? And I'm wondering what we would say to those women who are just feeling like either super discouraged because they're trying and it's not working, or unqualified to even start.
I would say to that mama, then pivot. Pivot is available to you. The pivot is available to you. Don't quit though.
Mm.
And use your resources that you have today. And sometimes we take for granted what we have today because we're looking ahead at what we want. I know that story. I've been there. Right now, this new book that's about to come out, you know how badly I want Michelle Obama to pick it up because I have a whole chapter in there about Michelle and us doing a partnership together. Do you know how badly I want Oprah Winfrey to put me on her podcast and me and her be in a garden together? Desperately. But you know what? I got to focus on what I have today, who I have access to today, who I have in my contacts, what resources I have today versus looking ahead. So we got to get crafty with what we got. Moms, they're the most innovative, crafty people on earth. You can make something out of nothing. What? And so you got to figure out what your thing is to make something out of nothing, right? So you got to start asking for help. Oh, what a novel idea.
Mm.
But we got to start asking for help. And here's what that does for you. When you ask someone for help this morning, I sent an email out to about 300 people in close inner circle. And I said, tomorrow I need you to post this graphic on Instagram to let your community know my book is live. Reply back yes if you're in. Whew, I got so many yeses. Yes, 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 yes. And I'm like, oh, all from an ask.
Yeah.
And you better believe when that ask comes back to me, I'm going to be available.
Yeah, I love that you said that because I feel like we feel so guilty to ask people for help, for support, like in our network. Like we feel like we're undeserving or they're gonna
Yeah.
judge us, or I don't know.
Or they're going to say
Some
no,
type of way.
or
Yeah.
they're just fearful of the rejection.
Yes. How
And
did
I
you?
had one person respond back and say to me, "How did I get on this email list? Please take me off." And I'm like, "Oh, got it.
Yeah.
You're off."
Yeah.
Do you think I let that discourage me? No. And that's fine. She doesn't want to be of the support. She doesn't want to help, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and talk to you guys from a place of it's all perfect. No, I'm dealing with the same things. But you know what? I don't let that stop me. I got a North Star. I got a goal. I got 3 kids I got to feed. That's why I can't give up. And that's why you can't give up either. You got to get crafty with what you got today. Look in your pantry on what you got today and use that. Don't be so focused on what you don't have. Start shifting your mindset to what's available to you and utilize that.
Yeah, you're making me think too because my kids joke. I talk to everybody, right? Like I can tell you where the crossing guard is from and like how many kids he get. Like I will talk to everyone. Like it takes us forever to get somewhere. And a lot of my friends like I could never. Like they're like they'll text me and be like, "Hey, do you know? Like I need this thing. What's the best place for basketball?" Like they'll ask me these questions, and I never thought of it as like, wow, maybe I am this like resource for people, but thinking about networking, I know you mentioned is like one of these superpower tools that we're probably underutilizing for moms, especially who are, and it's hard. Let's be real. Like at this age, it is hard to like make new friends. It's hard to meet people, but it doesn't have to be, right? Like I like again, like I feel like I could just talk to somebody and we'll be fine. But a lot of people are stuck in this mindset of I don't know how to get out there. I'm new to my kids' school. I don't know how to talk to people. Like, how do I grow a network so I even have this village? This quote I read, it was, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it was like, if you want to like take advantage of the village, you got to be part of the village. And I think a lot of us aren't always like willing to be that village person for somebody else because we don't know how to find it. What do
Mhm.
you think about that when we're trying to be like, what do I have? Like because I'm sure we all have tons of things, but we don't think about them in the way we need to as, hey, this is a resource or someone I can ask for help.
It's so loaded, right? Because like I think about what the old folks say. The old folks like it takes a village because it does. Life ain't meant to be done alone, right? So instead of focusing on all of the areas in which you could ask for help, let's just focus on one area right now, right? So let's say, for instance, you're involved in your church or your kids' school. I'll give those two examples, right? I believe that church is a really central gathering place, right? Most people can get tapped in at their local church in their local neighborhood, right? It's a great place for you to create community, especially with like-mindedness, right? And right now, I feel like the fall is the most perfect time to get involved in things at church because it's like grow group season, connect season, all of the things, right? Um, but then also when I think about that even like my kid is at a new school right now and there's so many ways to get involved. You just got to show up. In showing up, that means having intentionality behind it. Are you there from the perspective of checking a box, or are you intentionally connecting and making up your mind that I'm going to connect with one or two people here? And those one or two people will multiply. I'm not focused on what they'll multiply to. I'm focused on my intentionality of connecting with them today. Our school, we got a group me, we got coffee chats once a month, we got homecoming coming up. There's so many ways, right? Don't be afraid to be intentional. Intentionality does not mean there's a ton of people. It just means one or two people that you can make impact with, right? And start from there. There's Facebook groups, there's local women, there's women's groups everywhere now. What a time to be a woman, right? Like, don't make up excuses on why you're not. Create intentionality on who you want to. And the other thing is, don't minimize the people that you already know. Like in this phone that we all have, there are contacts in it. right? Reach out to two people that you haven't connected with. Ask them, how are they doing? Ask them for coffee if they have time, right? But you have to be intentional with who you want to build with. And most of us have people that we can build with right now. We're just overlooking
Yes.
who they are because we're so focused on the future and what we don't have. And in order to stay, I believe, successful in what we want, we got to start wiggling our toes and grounding ourselves in today and believing that today is enough. And we're not going to worry about what tomorrow brings, but what I have today is enough. You have what it takes. In the book, I tell the story about me doing a partnership with Michelle Obama organization When We All Vote. And I asked people in my phone, I said, I asked 4 to 5 people that I thought would have access to her. One person was like, "Oh, Marty, that's a good one." Another person was like, "Girl, who do you think I am?" No, I do not know her. And then one person responded back and said, "Actually, I do."
Oh,
And then we did this partnership last year together. But it all took ask, it all took being intentional, it all took putting myself out there, right? We all have that in us. That requires no skill.
yeah.
We all have that inside of us. Start believing that it's available to you.
I love that. I was having a conversation this weekend with someone. Oh, because I was telling her about the book, and she didn't. We were like with our kids at Sesame Place, like doing things. She was like, "I didn't know you read a book," and I was like, "Yeah, I did." And she was like, "There's just so many things you don't know about people," and I was like, "There's so many things you don't know about people because we don't ask, right? Because we're not asking them like, tell me more about yourself. Like, what do you like?" And actually listening and coming from that place. And then also on that other side of that reminder of myself, like, I have something to offer others as well. So it's like knowing your worth there and realizing that other people are so incredible as well. But like you said, we're not reaching out to them, but you'll never know if you just sit on your hands with it, right? Like, you'll never know if you're like, I don't know, maybe it'll come to me, right? Like,
They say the way you make friends is asking them about themselves. But don't be that person who talks about themselves all the time. Be intentional about asking about the other person after they tell you. Let it be a two-way street. That's a novel idea also. Like, don't let it be about you the whole time. That's how you make friends. You ask them, "Hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me something really incredible that you're working on right now. Tell me something that I can support you with," right? And then let that person give space to do the same in return.
I love it. Yeah, and it all comes back to that bold, audacious behavior, believing that it can work and believing in yourself. Marty, I got so many things I want to talk to you about, but we're going to close with that mom out there who's like, all right, this book is coming out. It'll be about 3 weeks when this episode airs that the book is already at the top of all the bestseller lists because we're just putting that one out there for you.
Yes.
What do you want to tell them, like why they should pick this book up?
Oh my God. Well, number one, I think that this book is a model for what audacity is, right? If there's never been a time in history that we need a little bit more courage that's not so left or so right, that feels like what most of us is feeling, it's now. It's right now. And I want people who read this book to know that it belongs to you already. You just got to make a decision. And that decision means I'm going to find my values and I'm going to lean into them. I'm going to shift my mindset of scarcity to abundance. I'm going to learn how to activate my story and allow it to work for me. I'm going to activate my network of who I have today. And then I'm going to just keep going. And at the end of the book, the last chapter of the book, I talk about surrender because I tell you all of these things do this, do this, do this, this works, da 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 da, right? But I believe that in order for you to live the life that is designed for you, that is God designed for you, that you must know that surrender is a part of the process. What will be is going to be for you, and it will never pass you. It will never pass you by. So you don't have to control it. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to be such a small mindset about it. Like, just know what's going to be for Marty, going to be for Marty, what's going to be for Cara, going to be for Cara. And that is it, right? And so, in while the book is launching, we have this challenge going called the Audacious Ask Challenge, where we're igniting 1 million people to make their most audacious ask. Because I believe that something really powerful happens when you just put it out there. So, you have this web page, a landing page for you to upload your ask. And then we're going to be tracking asks. We're going to be helping folks make some of their big asks happen. Because what an incredible world we could live in where people just started being bold and taking up space and believing that it exists for them and that it's possible. This is exactly what this book does. And I'm so excited for the world to finally experience it. We have this little launch group going right now that got to read the book before, and them just like their comments of, Marty, it sounds like you're in my head. And these are the things that I'm dealing with. I'm just like, yep, I know it. I know that this book is going to change a generation of people from believing that I don't have enough to believing that it's all possible if you simply believe.
Oh, I cannot wait to read it. I know we have it scheduled for the book club for quarter 1, but I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to wait. Like, I cannot wait to get this. Where can we get the book and connect more with you?
Yeah, so you can grab the book, all places books are sold, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, your independent bookstore. And then you guys can connect with me on Instagram at Marty, Marty McDonald, just like the restaurant. And I cannot wait to hear your story. Send me a DM. I respond to DMs all the time. I want to hear your audacious ask.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We are going to put show notes at a purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 46. We'll link to the book, All Things Marty. And please go check it out. Let us know if you get the book. And we're so excited for you, Marty. I can't wait to see what happens next.